Welcome to Path Studio, where we talk to people from different paths of life. Whether they're an artist, influencer, entrepreneur, developer, or designer, let's get to know the story of their path. My name is Arturo Montiel, CEO of Path Studio, and I'm joined here today with my good friend, Barbiana Liu, the
Hey.
founder of Leche Studio in New York.
Hi, everyone. So good to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh no, it's always good to have conversations with friends. It's always a good time.
Yeah. Well, do you want me to start doing the
So
intro?
sorry about that. So for people who don't know who you are, like give us a background of who you are.
Yeah. So I'm Barbiana. My name is Barbiana. I'm a freelance brand and web designer based in New York City. And I'm also very multi-passionate. So I do AR filter on the side and create fun like 3D elements as well. So I've been freelancing for 2 years now, and I'm a self-taught. So this is just kind of like a reminder for everyone that nothing is impossible. Like as long as you put time, and effort in, like there are a lot of good resources online. You can become one as well.
So did you always start off with with design? Like was that something that you were always into, or how'd you come about?
Um, I would say that I always have this urge of creating something like design related,
Oh wow.
but since my background is I came from a very traditional Asian family,
Hmm.
so they don't think that design is a real job,
Right.
a real career that you can pursue. So since I was little, they always want me to become like either engineer, doctor, lawyers, those like traditional path. Like people think that that's a good money, like that's the way that you're going to their success, like
Yes.
succeed, like in the society. But I always love to just kind of pick up papers and pencils and pens around crayons, kind of just like drawing. And my mom noticed that, but she just told me that like this is not gonna be a good career for
Right.
you.
It's a
So I kind of
hobby.
just, yeah, it's a hobby. She's like, it's a good hobby. Like we love to see your drawing, but like now you need to focus on your study more. So I kind of hide that passion inside me until I got into college. I was in computer science major, and I love that. Like I'm able to create something on my own, like coding. At the time, I was learning Java and Python, so I'm doing more like back end. But it was like really amazing to see yourself, create something like a really cool like applications out
Right.
of your hand, bare hand, and it's just like really fun until I got into like one course, which is actually not even related to computer science major. It was a course from entrepreneurship, and I was introduced into like kind of like brand management, like marketing side of it.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, interesting. Like I'm actually pretty good at it. Like when I was like taking tests, I have to be honest, I am not a very like top student in CS major. I'm
Oh,
bad at taking exams. So I
same
failed
here,
a
by the
couple of
way.
times,
Oh,
right?
same here. I'll be
Yeah.
I'll be in the exam room and I'm like, yeah, I studied like 8 hours every single day
Yeah.
for the past month. I get there, I don't even know my first name or last name. So
Mhm.
it's just no, exams aren't for me. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'm not an exam machines. I can't do that. Like I can you can give me like a equation and tell me to solve it, but I can't answer those like very detailed questions. Like you just have to memorize it, but I'm a lazy person. I don't like to memorize stuff. So yeah, I just kind of like I don't like to take exams. Anyway, during that course, I did pretty well. Like on an exam, even though I don't like really studied, but I was just like, maybe I'm like, I can do something similar. So my second degree, and I just study marketing, especially like specialize in digital marketing. And I totally love it as well. And then I was also introduced into design a little bit. So that's how I started. Like I'm just like, okay, I really like to do the campaign and design those like poster for the campaign. So I just kind of go on like online and look on, especially on YouTube videos, YouTube University, right?
Right.
So yeah,
That's the
like
best place.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of resources online, and that's how I learned design. Yeah. Hmm.
That's really cool that you went into school with a pretty traditional major such as like computer science, you know, it's STEM, it's
Yeah.
engineering. And then you took like one class that isn't even art related in general. It's
Hmm.
like it was primarily marketing branding.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so I'm a digital marketing major. I'm 19. And we I go to the college that you graduated from, USF.
Yes.
Go Bulls.
Go boss.
And I first like whenever because I'm specializing in digital marketing as well, I thought it was just gonna be like pure data.
Hmm.
That's what I thought it was gonna be. And it is like to some degree, but for the most part, it's pretty artsy. It's pretty creative. And I was like, oh, like this is really cool that they're introducing that. But do you think like when it comes to at least like the digital space, the digital landscape, do you see it more as a data landscape or as a creative landscape, or is there like a fine mixture?
I think it's like a fine mixtures,
Hmm.
in my opinion. And also maybe because I was in a master degree, so they have variety, like more variety. Like, and also you can choose like if you want to take some courses for entrepreneurship as well. Like just kind
Oh,
of
that's
like choose
cool.
what you really want to like get more knowledge in. So and from. So yeah. I think it's a little different because I did talk to other digital marketing major like students like in bachelor degree, and the courses are a little bit different.
Yeah,
So yeah. Hmm.
yeah. So it's just hearing your story. How do you go from Tampa, Florida to New York City? How the
It's
heck?
a
It's such a different place. Like Florida is known for being like this crazy little country in its own right. It's not even a state, it's its own country. And then you go to New York City, like the place where all the dreams come true. Like how did you get there?
Yeah, don't well, it's a crazy story. Don't get me wrong, I still love Florida. It's like home for me. Like if I eventually want to settle down, I want to go back to Florida for sure. Like the weather, I love the weather. I love the just everything, like the food. People are so friendly over there. So that's for me, it's a home. But there's just one day I was just chatting with my partner, and then we're like, hey, do you want to just move to New York City? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And the next month, we just kind of sell everything that we kind of like we don't want, like because moving from Florida to New York, it's a long trip, and we do have a lot of things in Florida, and you know, like New York City apartment, it's small. We have to downsize for sure. So at the time, we're just kind of like sell like whatever we can, and just move to New York City. Yeah, the next month. It was super crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. No, I knowing myself, I'd be scared just to even go to New York City as like a visitor because New York City is super cramped. Do you feel like like claustrophobic over there or?
Um, that's a funny thing because I was born and raised in a city, big city in Taiwan, back in
Oh,
Taiwan.
okay.
So I'm always very used to the city vibe. That's actually when I first moved to Florida, I wasn't really like familiar with like you have to drive everywhere, and the parking lot is huge, and like
Yeah.
yeah, like for me, I'm just used to the city life, and I honestly, I don't even have a driver license. So for me, like living in New York City, it's like, oh, I love it because I can just walk to everywhere. I can take the subway. But when I was in Florida, I'm like tied up. Like I can't go anywhere unless my partner is
Interesting.
driving me to a place. Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, wow. I have a friend that's an international student from Bolivia.
Hmm.
And whenever they moved from Bolivia to Florida, over there, like you could ride your bike or do public transit. Here, it's like there's like a stigma to it.
Hmm.
And then like not having their license, because obviously they come from a different country,
Yeah.
they had the same emotion that you did, where like you feel
Hmm.
tied up, even though ironically,
Yeah.
this is a pretty like you're able to do anything in Florida.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you have the car.
right, if you have the
Yeah.
car.
Hmm.
So in New York City, how did you get there and like start with freelancing and start with design of Leche Studio, or how was like how was that
I
amazing studio created?
Thank you. Well, like I started before I moved to New York City. So
Okay.
it's like right after I graduate and I did send like a couple of like just my resume to a big agency, marketing agency, and thought that maybe I can land a job. But because pandemic happened,
Right.
so they're just kind of like, oh, we're not looking for any position anymore. We're gonna close down that position.
Mm.
So I was stuck at home and I was like, I need something though. Like I can't just like do nothing and I don't know what else to do. I was like, I can say that I was freaked out because I'm an
Oh,
international student, just graduated, and American life, it's like new to me. So
right.
I just want to at least do something, have like income, be stable.
Yeah.
So at the time, I went online on social media. I always be on social media. So I ran into a person called Amber. She's also on Tampa Locals, and she has this really amazing social media agency called A Creative Co.
A creative
Can look
Oh,
at
okay.
yeah, like she's really amazing, and she's been sharing a lot of social media tips and tricks online. And she was like talking about like, oh, you can do something just like through online. You don't really need to like go to an agency. And I was like, oh, interesting. I can do something similar, try something similar at least. So my Instagram initially is a social media tips and tricks account. It's not actually a
Oh,
design studio account. I was actually sharing like whatever I learned from my major, and eventually like someone, my first client actually told me that they want me to style their Instagram. They're like, oh, you have the design eye, like maybe you can style it for me. I was like, oh, okay, and I did a pretty good job, I guess, because they're satisfied. And then that's how I really like change what I'm doing. Like I eventually just kind of evolve and become a design studio because
wow.
people love my design more than what I'm like sharing this like marketing tips and tricks. Yeah.
Whoa.
Mhm.
You spent how many years were you in college then?
Just 4 years in college for CS major and then 2 years for master in marketing.
So 6 years, and
Yeah.
you're like busting out your degree on social media, sharing these amazing these tricks and tips. And someone's
Yeah.
like, actually, what you didn't spend 6 years for, I want to hire you for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is pretty crazy. And that's how I always tell people that, like you don't really have to get into the college, like to because my route is totally different than what I expect, what I planned it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it doesn't really matter that much as long as you have the passion in doing that, like
Wow.
something that you just like love enjoying and just do it. Yeah.
That's awesome. And
Hmm.
like, so talking about passion, when it comes to your work as a brand designer and web designer, do you see that like you have a purpose within that? Like long term, you can see yourself doing this until you retire, or is there like another potential?
Ooh, I love this question. So, if you asked me a year ago, I would say yes, I want to do design like forever. But ever since I started doing content creation, I kind of like it and I enjoy it a lot. So I kind of want to do that for a little bit before I fully be like, okay, I'm going to just create my own agency. Because at the moment, my studio is a small studio, it's not like an agency. And I haven't really thought about turning that into a big agency because I still enjoy talking to each of my clients and really involved in each process.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm just freelancing for 2 years. I still have time.
Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
100%.
And on the side, I really love to just do like content creation for other brands. Yeah.
Yeah, you do like a whole bunch of AR filters and stuff like that. Super cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
And doing videos on TikTok for other brands, like just it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did a collab with I don't want to butcher her Instagram name. At Manoa.
Hannah?
Yeah, Hannah Manoa. Is that
Yeah. Hmm.
I'll link in the description. But how was that? Because was that like for an actual client for Love Killa? I think is what it's
Hmm.
called.
So she got this like passion project and she was just looking for a web designer and she found me through Contra. So yeah, that was like really cool.
Shout out Contra.
Yeah.
That's one of the brands that you collabed with, right? Contra.
Yes, so I'm in a partnership with them at the time. So we kind of just like create content for them, like just talking about like the platform. And personally, I also use Contra to hire people and also like looking for opportunities. So this is like really interesting because at first, I was just like kind of sharing. I found Contra and I was
Hmm.
just sharing that, oh, this is a really cool new platform because I know that they are really new, a freelance tool. And I would just like start talking about it myself. And then Contra reach out to me, be like, we love like you talking about us. So we want to partner with you. I'm like, yeah, like that's really cool. So yeah.
That's awesome. And
Mhm,
how is it like how is Contra? Because I have an account with them. Haven't really
mhm.
gone too deep into it, but like how is Contra for you?
Contra for me, it's because I'm actually using HoneyBook on the site for like
Yeah, because that's like one
project
of the
management,
competitors.
yeah, and also like payments. But Contra, it's really easy to use. That like HoneyBook, it's more complicated, and also they
Hmm.
take like certain amount of fees, which I really don't like. And
Uh,
on Contra, it's like it's commission fee free and then no other fee that will be taken from like freelancers, so they really protect freelancers.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. All
HoneyBook,
right.
it's more like yeah, like project based, so they don't really like promoting like protecting freelancers or
Okay.
yeah, as a freelancer like tools. But Contra, it's definitely highly promoting themselves as like we just like want to help freelancers. Mhm.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. So Honeybook is more like the business operations of being a freelancer, and they take a commission for those services. And then
Yeah,
Contra,
like
and
they
then
are for small business owners and not necessarily only for freelancers.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's
Mhm.
awesome. And Contra's just like, nah, we love you guys. Well, we're gonna protect
Yeah.
you guys. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
We are their niche.
Yeah, no, Contra's beautiful. Their UI is gorgeous.
Hmm.
So when it comes to UI design and web design in general, did you get into that because of your computer science background? Because that's a little bit different than just like brand designer. How did you get there?
Yeah, it's totally different. So because my CS major is more like focusing on the back end, not the front end.
Right.
So I didn't really have any experience in front end design or development until I'm actually freelancing. And it took me a while to realize that my client, what my clients want, because at the time when I graduated with CS degree, I thought that I just need to make the website from scratch. That's all I thought, like think of. I was like, oh, that is kind of difficult. And how do my clients manage the website on
Mm,
their own? So that's like what I'm trying to figure it out, like to connect each other, like connect the dots. And then I just kind of went online and I looked for it, some resources, and then found that, oh, so for small business owner, mostly they want to be able to manage their own website, so they don't have to come back to me for like even small little edits, like, oh, I just want to change the wording, I just want to switch up the image, and then they have to just come back to me all the time. So for me, my solution for my client is I'm going to build the website on like CRM, like the builders that have the platform for you, so it's easy for you to manage on your own. Yeah, and I'm just gonna customize like the website for you. Hmm.
oh, that's awesome. Okay, so
Yeah.
like what are the best builders you've used?
Oh, Webflow is definitely amazing for sure. But
Love
before
Webflow.
Webflow is like very popular, I was using like Showit and also Shopify for e-commerce for sure. Yeah.
Oh, the go-to for e-commerce. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
definitely. Like if anyone asks me what website builder would you recommend for e-commerce, I will definitely say Shopify.
Shopify
Like
all the way.
hands down. Yeah.
As much as it hurts me because I love Webflow and they have a great e-commerce. Nah, Shopify.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. Love you, Webflow, but no, not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like, yeah, Shopify just have like a really great backend system for like orders and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's gorgeous.
Hmm.
Were you able to fix the issue by the way with the with your client?
Oh, yes. So we tried it with like different browsers, and I really think that it's a browser issue because other browser is just doing fine. And the
Yeah.
more like I try it out, it just look fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, one day Barbiana and I we were doing like a little, I guess like work session on
Hmm.
what's it called on
A life
study?
at.
Life at. I was gonna say
Yes.
study at. Yeah, life at. And she asked me about Shopify's like their images. It's like a liquid file. If you guys know what that is, like let us know how to fix it, because on Safari it looks jank.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good in any way.
Hmm.
But that's crazy. That's such an awesome story to just to go through all of that. How
Hmm.
was it telling your parents about that? Like, hey mom, hey
Well,
dad. Yeah, so like those 6 years that I did? Yeah, social media, brand design, web design.
yeah, especially freelancing is not really a thing back in Asia.
It's a
Like,
hobby.
yeah, it's like they're like, what is freelancing? Like when they heard of freelancing, I just feel like you don't have a job and you just
Yeah,
like doing gigs around. So when I
it's just
first told them that, like I'm I'm not going to get any job here and I'm going to just start freelancing myself, they were like they still support me, but they were just still giving me the message like you need to maybe still apply to like
right.
agency or something, like get a job. Yeah, like just like okay, you can still do this because of pandemic, like probably you can find a job right now, but like after maybe you can still find something more stable than being a freelancer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's exactly the same thing for Hispanic families, especially like since just like you, like I was born in a country outside of America. I was born in Venezuela,
Mhm.
and coming here, like the only thing was carrera, which is like career in Spanish. And so they're like, all right, you're gonna go to school. You love playing with Legos. You love computers. All right, computer engineering. That's all you,
Yeah.
kiddo. And I'm like, yeah, 100%. At some point, I wanted to become a doctor, and then I saw that needles, didn't like it. And then I get into coding. They're like, oh my gosh, she's on the good path. Yes, we're
Mhm.
doing it. Hey mom, hey dad, I'm gonna do freelance. They slapped me so hard. They're like, not really, guys. No, but they were so mad. They're like, you can't do that. Your grandma is disappointed. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing for like us traditional family. But yeah, like I mean, they're still pretty supporting, I would say, at least like they're not stopping me from doing something I love and
That's
they know
awesome.
that. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, same here. Like, it's definitely hard getting the support from traditional families, even if like, because I have friends that come from, I wouldn't say like as strict or like conservative families, but
Hmm.
still receiving support was like pretty hard for them. But once you receive it, just like a little glimpse, it means a lot.
Yeah, it definitely means a lot. Like, because since I was a second child, so I have that syndrome that just don't get approved by my parents. So whenever my parents say like, "Oh, you did a great job," and then it's like everything for me. Like, okay, yeah, I did it.
Right.
The
It's
approval.
it's the best feeling, especially. So you're the second child. Do you have like an older sibling?
Yeah, I have an older sister and a younger sister.
Oh, you're the middle child.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The second child, yeah, the middle
Oh, I
child.
don't know
Yeah.
how that
I'm
feels
sorry.
because
Yeah.
I'm the youngest, so like I was babied a lot, but I was always compared to my older sister.
Mm.
So like in high school, I had terrible grades in the beginning, and then I competed, beat my sister, and all I got was like a nice, good job, buddy. I'm like, I spent 4 years of my time trying to please you, but it was a very valuable lesson for me at least. I don't know if you've come across this, but doing something that just
Mhm,
makes you genuinely happy is a lot more it's a lot more fulfilling than
mhm.
doing something for somebody else.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely feel you on this one. Mhm.
Yeah. I think it's like really important, especially since nowadays, like with social media, I mean, you're working there like all the time, and I try not to go on social media too much because it's pretty addicting, but seeing so many people live like their best lives and everything like that, it's pretty hard not to compare yourself
Mhm.
and feel
Yeah,
disappointed almost.
yeah. Like social media can bring the best and worst of
Yeah.
people. Like I'm on social media a lot, and I definitely feel just like depressed seeing other people, doing something that I always wanted to do, or just even like within the community, seeing people creating amazing design can also affect, us. but I learned that, like if you feel this way, just kind of log off,
Yeah.
just log off for a while. And when you're ready, you can come back. Like it's not like we don't have to do this to ourselves. Mostly it's just because we are self-conscious and also want to be perfect, but it's not never gonna, like perfectionist. It's just not real.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's no such thing as perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, little shameless plug here. If you guys that are listening are interested in design or just having a community of creators or creatives that are very supportive, on Instagram, follow at 1-800.design. They're an amazing community, super nice. And Barbiana is actually the leader of it all.
I
She's
wouldn't say a leader.
no. But you definitely do have a leadership role. There's a lot of people in there that look up to you, Barbiana.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I just want to create a space for designers to really share everything on there, find inspirations, have like someone to talk to, and then have like virtual events for us to just network and, like find your like-minded people on there. Because I know that freelance journey can be lonely sometimes,
Oh yeah.
and especially a lot of designer now are just working remotely. So a lot of them just want to, find someone to talk to, and I just want to create that safe space for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice. Like making a like because I used to do freelance with photography, and back then, I mean, we didn't have COVID, so like we could hang out with people, not be
Hmm.
like, oh my god, I'm gonna get the vid.
Hmm.
But and back then, like it was very nice. Like I was freelancing. It was still pretty lonely, but I was accompanied by people. But now, like after COVID or even during COVID, uh, freelancing was like really hard, and I had a whole family surrounding me. How was that
Hmm.
for you? Like during COVID and even now, like how was that?
I would say that at the time, I was still in Tampa and I'm doing freelance. It's just like I really wish there are some like events or a resource at a time. I'm just like very new to freelance. So I just want to know more people who's also in the same situation, like same freelancing as me. So I get to ask, the questions that I have. I just want to know people that, like just like within this community. Yeah. So there is actually a great group in Tampa. It's called Babe Crafted. It's actually women, like for only for women, but they
Never knew.
have like small business owners, like for just like Tampa Babes, and they have like
Tampa
events.
babes.
Yeah,
That's
Tampa
awesome.
Babes. I really love like when the founder that she came up with this word, I was like, this is so cute. Tampa
Yeah.
Babes. Yeah. So at the time when I joined, it's only virtual, and then later on when the COVID, it's like kind of died down, like not like as bad as before. We did have like a few like physical like events that we can meet up, like which I love so much. I was like, this is what I want. Like I really wanted to meet people. I don't want to just like doing this alone. Yeah.
Right. That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Yeah.
When it comes to designing, and especially when it comes to front end, like user interface, which tools do you use?
That's the question.
That is the question.
I use Adobe XD for like website design. Yeah.
That's awesome. Why
Mhm.
Adobe XD? There's like two other ones, I think, like Sketch and Figma.
Yeah, I know. I definitely love to try Figma, but I was introduced to Adobe
Mm.
first, and that's like a free tools at the time that I was doing at school. So like in
Oh
school. So
yeah.
yeah, that's the only tools that I'm able to try like at the time. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna try Adobe XD. And it just doesn't really make sense for me to have like two different tools at a time. So yeah,
Perfectly makes
I'm
sense.
just stick with Adobe XD for now.
Oh yeah, 100%. What do you like about Adobe XD in the sense like because whenever I personally use Figma, I've tried all three. I tried Sketch, Adobe XD,
Hmm.
love them. But I just fell in love with Figma because like the community was like was a lot bigger, and also the plugins. There's so many. Like
Hmm.
what was it for you for Adobe XD?
Yeah, I definitely agree that the community for like for Figma, it's so big, and I admire that. I wish that Adobe XD can like somehow, create a community like that. But
Same,
I know
same.
that Adobe has like a lot of different products to take care of, so
Yeah.
maybe in the future. But yeah, like for Adobe XD, I just love that it's very flexible, like for me to not just create web design. I can also do other things like just graphic design, poster design on there, not necessarily need to open my Photoshop or even Illustrator. So ever since I really designed on XD, I don't think I opened Illustrator as much as I used to.
Oh, did you use it
And
before?
yeah, I used like Illustrator for all graphic design before, but ever since I use Adobe XD, I'm like, ooh, it's like faster. And I don't know why it's just faster than opening a Photoshop or even After Effects, because on Adobe XD you can also make like little motion graphics.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I was like, for me it's good enough. Like unless I'm going to do more advanced like graphics, then maybe yes, I'll still go on Photoshop or After Effects. But like for everyday design, Adobe XD is good.
It's just such a good application. So my friend, he's a graphic designer, has been for like 6 years. Affinity designer, Adobe Illustrator, and then he asked me, he's like, "What do you?" Because I was doing social media for a podcast at the time, and he was like, what do you use to design those?" And I was like, Figma."
Mhm.
And it was like as if I told him something so offensive and controversial that he was like, why are you doing that? Like you could just use Illustrator, like an actual graphic design. So I was like, hey now, it is a graphic design tool.
Yeah.
It's just
It,
honestly, I do agree. It is a lot faster because you can make the artboard in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's just way faster, and the interface is not as complicated, and
Hmm.
it's very just like intuitive. So I even love to just like design social media templates on there, and I kind of just let my clients, I record like a very easy tutorial for my clients, be like, this is how you can just use Adobe XD. Like it's not as complicated as any other Adobe products. Like this is probably the easiest one.
Yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
100%.
Yeah.
Adobe, because I tried Photoshop at some point because I did photography. I remember when I first started Photoshop, it's in English, but I felt
Hmm.
like it was in a completely different language. It was so bad. And then when it came to Adobe XD, Figma, Sketch was a little bit sketchy for me. It didn't,
Sketchy.
yeah, it didn't seem right for some reason. But Adobe
Hmm.
XD and Figma, they're very similar, very easy to
Yeah.
use.
Hmm. And I
So
really love that people just like really create something that you never even thought of, that application can do that, and then they just do it in those applications.
yeah,
It's amazing.
like there's this like I just discovered this plugin last night. There's this plugin called Breakpoints where you can create like for Adobe XD it'd be like 3 artboards, one for like mobile, tablet, desktop,
Hmm.
and then you can make them into like components. And using the plugin Breakpoints, instead of like having 3 screens, it's just one screen, and as you're dragging, it responds to like the different breakpoints. I was like,
Oh.
how do people design this stuff? Like when it comes to Figma or like UI design, I'm just like, I just want to make boxes and then other boxes and
Hmm.
shapes. Like I don't. These people are making programs and software for a software.
Yeah, that's really amazing.
It's so cool. It's definitely for both communities, honestly, because Adobe XD has a strong community on Instagram. Same thing
Hmm.
with Figma. They're both big on social media.
Hmm.
Have you been approached by Adobe in any case?
Not yet. Hopefully, finger crossed. Like I've been really talking about Adobe XD on my social media. And
Yeah.
so I really hope that I can, collab with them someday. But I did like collab one time with Adobe for just like a video, but it's like creating physical products. So yeah, that's the video. And I also did the Adobe Live for web design.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The Adobe Live was sick, by the way. It was
Thank
awesome.
you so much.
I was there. It was awesome. It was definitely weird because I never used Adobe. Like I not that I never used it. I just never like use it primarily. And I
Hmm.
was like, I have Adobe XD. I'm gonna try it out. And I was like, it's a different thing. It's a little bit different. The thing
Yeah.
that got me was like there's no pages. Like there's no like on the left hand side, like you you can have like pages where like this page has like these files, this page has these files on Figma,
Hmm.
but XD is just like one canvas with just a multiple artboards.
Yeah, it's a big artboard and you can just do whatever you want.
Yeah, like it was
Hmm.
such a different thing for me, but it was really cool. Very
Yeah.
beautiful UI.
Hmm.
How was it like doing those live things, or how did you even like come about to do that?
Ooh, I have to say that it's so nervous for me. Even now when I think of that, I was like, how did I do that? It's because I never did something just like live streaming, web designing at the same time and have to talk to people as well. I was like literally shaking while I'm designing.
You're like,
Yeah, I'm like, "Ugh, what if I did something wrong? What if I like say?" So that's why I feel like when I go back to the videos on YouTube, I was like, I did not even answer some of the questions because I was so focused on the design. I completely ignored the questions. But yeah, it was very just like nervous and definitely like they only ask you to share like what are you gonna design on that day, and then and on that day, on those 2 days, it's just completely like your freedom, like whatever you want to create on those two
wow,
days. Yeah.
that's
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah. No
Have you,
limitation.
yeah, no limitation. Plus you have a whole bunch of accountability right then and there.
Yeah.
It seemed pretty nerve-wracking, even as like the viewer. Like I was like, UI design's like pretty preferential, but there's like a lot of like principles.
Yeah.
And so like if you make a mistake, like you have over 6,000 people looking at you right
Exactly. I
now.
was very nervous about that because I was like, what if someone be like, hey, you did this wrong, or like this is not like what we like, what I learned from the design principle, design rules. I'm like, ugh, I don't want to get criticized, but I mean, yeah, everyone is still pretty nice. They just
Yeah,
just kind of enjoy the live and then love it.
I just think
Hmm.
it's interesting because everyone has like a different process and like a system that they go through. Like
Yeah.
uh today, like I had the two interviews with UX researchers, and they have like their whole like logical process and everything. And for me, like they asked me, they're like, how'd you get into UI design? I was like, I was coding front end and I didn't know what
Hmm.
to reference. So like I just learned Figma in like 3 days and then made my stuff from there. And then they're
That's
like, what's your
amazing.
yeah, they were like, what's your process? And I'm like, I just I've like ever since I was young, I've had like ideas for websites and solutions, but I never had like software to do. I always did like a paper and pen. Like that's why I have like tons of notebooks.
Hmm.
And then they're like, oh well, like I have a systematic user flow. And I'm like, it's just when it comes to my head, you know. Like what's your process like, or how'd you come about creating your own process?
Definitely the process I learned along the way. At first, it would just like, okay, getting the questionnaire back from my clients and just kind of like, okay, just create a wireframe.
Mm,
But later on, I realized that before creating a wireframe, it's probably better to do some research first.
mm,
So I would prepare like I call it a website planning document. So basically on there, I will like organize what my clients are expecting on their website and then comparing to what user is going to expect on the website, and then kind of see like what solution we can provide to really make the user experience better on the website. And start from there, we're going to just kind of like write down like what's gonna like the sections, what's the wireframe's gonna look like first, and then when I see the planning, they'll be like, oh, I love that. Like at least they know your design decision,
right.
behind the everything you do. I feel like that's very important for
Very
all the
important.
designers, like not just presenting without explaining anything. Like they want to know what's why do you even make this decision. So that.
Especially for people that aren't in like the designer creative field, like
Mhm.
it's very like it's very anti-logical. It's just like
Mhm.
inspiration, let me write it down, let me just and like create from there. Obviously there's like process and systems that are in place, but if they don't see like how it came about, they don't see how it's going to be used in real world settings. Like you can show like the Apple logo, but if it's not in
Mhm.
a mock-up, people are going to make fun of you.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna see like, why is there just like an apple and then someone bite of it,
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
it. And they don't know the reason behind like the design. Like that's a lot of like a lot of people thought that designer just like putting pretty images, pretty fonts together, but there is like something behind. There's a reason behind.
Oh yeah, everything's very intentional.
Hmm.
At
Yeah.
least it should be intentional. At least it should be.
Hmm.
Um, so for like, because we do something very similar where we have like a discovery phase with the client. We ask them like what they're looking for and a whole bunch of other questions.
Yeah.
And then we ask them, like currently with this client, we're making like a huge web app for them as well as designing it. And so we ask them like, what are some competitors that are very similar to this niche, or is this unique? Is it a unicorn? They give us like a list, and then we tailor the secondary research that's been done for those websites for the user data, and we try to apply it. Obviously, we're in the midst of getting our own proper UX researchers, so we can do that better. But do you guys do something very similar? Because I know you kind of like touched upon it a little bit.
Yeah, so I'll definitely look into the competitor and ask them like, what do they like about their websites, and then what do you don't like about like their websites, and kind of see like what they're expecting, and also do like user experience on online. So there is like a really great website that you can do user research. I think I shared that in the community like last week. I think it's called userinterviews.com. If you go online,
userinterviews.com.
It's pretty straightforward. Yeah, super straightforward. I don't know how they get the domain though. Must be paying a lot for that domain.
I hope so, because getting a domain, that's another thing. Like, especially like in your web design, or you're interested in getting into web development design, the domain part is so, it can be such a headache at times.
Yeah.
Because like for us, like for Path Studio, there's another company that has Path Studio, and they're like a glassware company. They already have the domain, and we approached them because like they don't have a huge social media following. They're not that active on their website anymore. We're like, hey, can we purchase it from you? They're like, yeah, $5,000. We're like,
wow,
that's okay. We're just gonna add the 3 letters LLC and then .com after Path Studio. We're good.
Well, I like lately I see a lot of brands trying to do like .xyz, which is pretty cool. Like I kind of like it. Like it's very just like new Web3, give me like the Web3 vibe.
.xyz, that's awesome. I know people do like .design or .studio. We tried getting at, couldn't. It's a competitive name, I guess.
So yeah, like that website, it's really like great for if you are doing any like user, just like research.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's really just because like I like data, I like learning from it, but personally, like conducting that research just seems so like meticulous to me. Which I hope that doesn't sound too bad.
I mean, like some people love it, some people like don't like it, but I mean, I don't have any opinion on that. I'm like, okay, I love to learn from like stories to know like how they approach like let's say like website, how they approach the website and how's their like experience going over everything, like and you'll be very surprised. Yeah, you'll be very surprised. Like everyone's like kind of different, and yeah,
I love reading those things like case studies. There's I forget the website. I have it in my bookmarks. Let me pull it up. It's like it's a website literally just for case studies. Is it? Nope. I'll put in the link in the description, but basically like they have over hundreds of case studies, and you'll read it. And there are some comments that you wouldn't even think about. Like whenever I was first getting into UI design, they would talk about like the heat maps of like the eyes. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But it's the same thing like in photography, like the whole composition thing. I was like, oh my goodness, like I can apply it this way. Did you have like some background to help you with web design, brand design, or?
I definitely feel fortunate that because I started with CS major. So like the heat eye thing, like we have like project something similar like that before. So basically, yeah, all the students have to do the it's a really cool project from someone like as a senior, and he made like a application and also the website. So he will invite all the students, junior students, to go into the lab and just kind of do the user like experience, like the whole research. Yeah, like super cool. That's how I learned that, this is what we will need later on when we do the project, because for CS major, like at the end, we'll also have to present like a project that you learn from like whole 4 years. Yeah, so that's like part of it. Yeah, you have to do the research, write up the essay, of course, and then present it. Yeah. So that's how I learned that, oh, now when I'm actually doing web design, these are actually something that I can kind of like learn from and use that in web design research.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome. How
that's pretty cool.
yeah, coming from like computer science and then going into freelancing, how was like the interpersonal relationship building that you had to do when it comes to
Um,
like clients, speaking to clients, presenting to clients, negotiating? How was
mhm.
how was that at first, and has it just how is it?
I I have to say I hate it at first. I'm not good with like client management because also that this is not my native language. So for
Oh,
me
fair
at
enough.
first it's just difficult. It's so tough that I always have to kind of prep myself like for like 3 days and then get onto like a discovery call because I will be so nervous and I just want to make sure that I sound professional.
Right.
But after like a year, practicing really makes progress. I'm not gonna say perfect. It's a
No, no, no.
progress.
It always
So
is
yeah, like
progress.
I feel more comfortable now, like talking on discovery call, and also because you know what you're doing. After a year, you definitely know something.
You would hope,
So
right?
yeah, if I don't, but yeah, I know what I'm doing. So I get more ease like talking to the clients now, but at first it's definitely difficult for me. And I just have to like prep myself a lot and also ask like some other designers online, just kind of like ask them like, how do you prepare for a discovery call? Because I do think that the first initial call is very important. Like
Yeah.
that's going to like really decide if they want to hire you or not. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's awesome. No, I agree. English, because my first language wasn't even English or Spanish. I was learning them
Hmm.
at the same time. So I was speaking Spanglish actually. Like it would just come out like vowels and sounds, and
Uh-huh.
then but English just does not make sense to me
Hmm.
in any way, shape, or form. At least for me, I find it more complicated. My business partner, who's fully American, he doesn't like English either, but
Really?
yeah, he's it was such a weird thing because we were on Discord where that's like where we do like remote design work together, and I had like a song that was in Spanish playing in the background. He was like, dude, honestly, I gotta be honest with you, Spanish is way better than English. I was like, what? I was like, dude, you only speak English. And he was like, yeah, it's just I don't know, English is way more complicated. And it's just so true. English is so much more complicated. And that especially because there's so many technicalities and everything.
Hmm.
But like going into like business relationships and client management, have you had like any, you don't have to disclose their name, but like have you had any headache clients that are like asking for you to do more than like your scope of work or
Absolutely. I feel like every designer definitely have like at least
at least.
one like bad experience, like headache clients for sure. So yes, I definitely do have like a few. So what happened is that they don't read like the first initial like document I sent it to them because I always have like a welcome pack to kind of warm them up, like to
Oh, that's
let them
nice.
understand like what the process will look like and what you need to kind of reminder like what you need to know about the process, about the files and deliverables I'm going to share at the end. But some of them just I don't know, they're paying their they're investing in their brand, but they're not reading those documents, which is very surprising. So like at the end they will like come back to me asking me a bunch of questions that I already covered before and were like asking me to do more like revisions or just like, oh, after a month and be like, can you redesign this on the website? I'm like, it's already been a month, like yeah, it happens.
So dealing with like I don't want to say dealing because it sounds so mean. It makes it sound like a burden. It's just like mitigating those hard conversations with like with those clients. Like, how do you go about that kind of thing? Because it like for a lot of people, like if they don't have I I would say like proper like etiquette,
Hmm.
people can come up like really impatient, really rude,
Yeah.
or even like self-centered,
Yeah, for
unfortunately.
sure. Yeah. I would say a designer need to stand their ground, like have boundaries, because at
Mm,
first I definitely don't really, clear that boundaries. So I'm just like pleasing them. Okay, I'll just do it. I think it's just a small edits. I will do it. But later on, I realized that it's just too much for me. And I need to set the boundaries. So I will still like respond them like nicely, but I'll be like, I can still do that for you, but it's gonna be, extra hours, and we can do hourly rate on top of that. And then we can schedule like a time to really do like kind of intensive retainer and then just like complete it in a day or two. Yeah. But yeah, like just need to set the boundaries. Don't just say yes to everything.
yeah. Oh my
Hmm.
goodness. Like
Yeah.
I've been freelancing with web development and design for I would say like officially legally 6 months. Outside of that, I was doing like Cash App and Fiverr for like 4 months before that. But with photography, having that boundary is really important. Just like as a creative solution giver, it's
Hmm.
really hard to not be taken advantage of, or really hard not to be almost like devalued because, oh, like what you're doing is just like artsy. Like it's I can do it too. I can do it on Canva. I can do it on
Oh
Canva.
no.
Yeah, I can do it on Canva. But for those of you listening, it's really important to just say, these are my boundaries respectfully. We can do
Hmm.
that. Moving forward, though, we're gonna have to discuss an increase of scope.
Hmm.
Is that comfortable with you? If not,
Yeah.
we can try and figure out some other way.
Hmm.
If not, go to
Exactly.
fiverr.com. I don't know what to tell you, but like
Yeah.
it's tough. So,
Yeah.
but like you mentioned hourly rate. So with Leche Studio, do you guys do hourly rate or flat fees, value
Hmm.
based? How's that?
I do value based on the packages, but for retainer, I do hourly, just because like it will really depends because mostly the retainer, it's not like a full project. It's just like a
Mm,
small little like yeah,
change the
like
button kind of
yeah.
thing.
So I do just charge hourly. Hmm.
Okay. What if it's
Yeah.
like more than just like change a button? What if it's like a almost like a blog page and they ask you, hey, can you like redesign like this, just this one page?
That will definitely, I would just be like, okay, we can just kind of downsize the package into just like landing page design. Let's just do that, like
Mm,
landing page design. Yeah. So that will be more than just like hourly rate, just because I'll let them know that redesigning the landing page will definitely spend like more, just like a few hours, because we'll still have to do some research behind to see
yeah.
like why don't you think that this page is not working? Like why isn't it working? And yeah, so that will definitely take more time.
You're saying it's more than just Canva drag and drop, Arviana? It's more than just InDesign? I remember somebody, have you had these conversations with people or these like experiences where whenever you tell them like you're in web design, they're like, oh yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's like graphic design. Like I do that on Canva.
Um, I don't really have anyone that told me that.
Oh, God
Oof.
bless
Or
you.
else I feel
You're
like
so
I'm going
lucky.
to like full on like trying to. But yeah, I don't really encounter anyone that
That's
saying.
awesome. I'm glad then because
uh,
because I'm someone that's like I'm not a like I'm humble in the sense that like if someone were to say it to me, I'm not gonna get like offended. I'm like, cool, like Canva's a great design tool, whatever, not.
Mhm.
But whenever I see like what people can do with graphic design tools, and then people are like, it's the same thing as Canva, I'm like, oh, but it's not.
It's not. I mean, like I'm not a Canva hater, but
No, no, no.
yeah, like I mean, there are better tools for, like
Yeah.
there is a purpose of those tools like exist. Yeah, don't do everything on Canva. Canva is good, but don't do everything on Canva. Like you can elevate your design experience for your clients. Why not?
Yeah. I started on Canva. I started on Canva graphic design.
Yeah,
And
same.
like I feel like Canva is just like a pretty safe place. And then at some point you're like, I want to customize this more. So you got to learn through something else. But
Yeah.
my favorite thing about Canva, I grew up in a household that was dominantly female.
Hmm.
Like my dad was there, but my dad would work like 9 to 5, then he'd come home, sleep, wake up the next day, so he wasn't really
Typical
there
that.
as much. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like we still love David. He's a great guy. But
Hmm.
um growing up like with a female environment, for me, like I was always introduced to businesswomen that were female, businesswomen that are female. Yeah, good job. Business people that are female instead of men. And when I found out that like the business industry is predominantly male, like I
Mhm.
was sheltered as a kid. So I was like, whoa, what? That's not true. Like I only know women in business. How is that for you? Being a woman in business.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. So at first I because I'm a woman in business, so I only want to help like small business owner who's also a woman in businesses at the time.
Mm,
And I just love that now, especially like a lot of women just like, oh, I can do this too, like because
yeah.
before it's more like, oh, and especially in Asia, like women supposed to just stay home, take care of kids,
Yeah.
and yeah, you can't really go out and then like do your work. But since like my family, like we have three, like we only have like girls in our family,
Right.
except my dad. I always think that my dad was living in a girls like dormitory because it's
Same.
always his girls around. My mom like gave me like a really big influence. So she always told us that, even though you guys are girls, but it doesn't mean that, you can do anything. That's
Right.
why like she's like kind of harsh on us to pursue like a good career because
Mm,
she knows like even you guys are girls, but like you can do whatever you want. You don't have to be like a stay-at-home mom.
that's
And
awesome.
that really influenced me. So I always have this like I also always also want to be an entrepreneur because of that. Yeah, like I know that I don't have to like do something for some like I mean like under someone. I can
Mm.
actually establish my own like career. Yeah. So I really love it. Like so far, I met so many women entrepreneurs. They're just really amazing. They're giving like great, sharing the great, inspiring stories to new generations. I just love that.
Oh yeah, it's awesome, especially
Hmm.
like coming from someone that if my whole family is purely it really is purely female on both sides of my family. I'm like, okay, most likely I'm gonna have like daughters. I
Hmm.
don't if I were to have daughters, knock on wood, I wouldn't want them to grow up like thinking like they can't do the same thing that a man can do.
Hmm.
Sure, like biologically, men are bigger than girls, whatever not. But like for me, business has only ever been related to women. Sure,
Hmm.
like Steve Jobs is a thing. So just now seeing like all these people on Instagram, especially with social media and so many different tools that are available to everybody,
Yeah.
seeing this rise of female entrepreneurs and female businesswomen killing it. By the way, Canva was created by a female entrepreneur,
Yeah.
and it's $1 billion business.
Yeah. They're smart.
Like, oh my gosh. And it was because
Hmm.
she didn't like Photoshop.
Exactly.
So I'm like you can like literally you can do anything, you can create anything. And I think that's just like the beauty of the internet and
Hmm.
the age that we're at now.
Hmm. For
'Cause
sure.
especially like being able to run your own community,
Hmm.
so sick. There's so many things. Seriously, like I'm someone that whenever because I was going through Instagram, I went through like the hashtag of like modern websites or modern design, looking for like design inspo. And then I came across like a reel of yours and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I was like, wait a minute, I like the font on that. I'm gonna go there. So I went to it, I was like, this is such a cool website. And then at some point, like it was like, oh, like it was like your story, like, oh, I graduated and everything. And I DM'd you. I was like, nah, Barbiana, you're too cool of a person. I gotta get to know you.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
No, yeah, and I told my sister about you because I think my sister's like 24, 25 now.
Oh, we're pretty much the same as me.
Yeah, I told
Yeah.
her about you, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, does she owns her own business in New York City?" I was like, "Yeah, she's owns her own business in New York City." She's like, "That is so badass," and I was like, "It is so badass." Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
yeah, and I remember because I was in CS major and you would see like there's not a lot of girls
No.
in that industry. And also like when I was like doing I actually had a 9 to 5 jobs at a time, corporate job after I graduated CS major. I was
Oh,
a
we're at.
assistant engineer at Qualcomm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and yeah, barely see any girls in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, barely. And then just like men's around me. And I don't really like the environment. And I remember I had a really great experience with Microsoft. So they had this program called Coding Angel, and it only
Mm,
invite girls like who's also like CS major or just very interested in coding, and it had this like boot camp for girls they call them coding angels, and we just learned like R coding and just like data analytics at the time. And I went there like the boot camp, and really amazing to see like so many young girls like trying to also be a coder. And I was like, oh, this is nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Like if anyone like listening and then you want like I believe there's still like having this type of like boot camps out there for sure. And I would definitely recommend like if you want to do something similar or you just love like coding, like yeah, join those boot camps events. Yeah.
They're awesome. I know actually one of the future episodes we're gonna have with someone that's that did a boot camp
Mhm.
with She Codes. I don't know if you heard of She
Okay,
Codes,
yeah. Mhm.
but she did with She Codes, found an amazing community of just women in tech, and it was awesome for her. And so she's gonna be one of our interviews in the future, but I'll link that in the description as well because I think it's just in a great community. They're super accepting for even like both like for men as well. Like I talk to them. I'm like, hey, like, can I get help with this? And like, how's your story? Like, it's just super cool meeting so many different people.
Mhm.
But like no one like there's like I went to a Google Developer Club
Mhm.
at USF, and I was like, oh, okay, like this is USF, like we're pretty inclusive. There was one girl out of 63 guys. I was like, this feels wrong. Like, this should not be right. There was like,
Wow.
yeah, there was like one girl, and I was like, wow, okay, yeah, we gotta change it up around here. So like I started inviting like girls like in the hallways like that were at the engineering school. I'm like, hey, like, you
Mhm.
should come, like whatever. No, it's pretty nerdy. Just
Pretty nerdy.
like I mean, you got to preface with the words, like it's pretty nerdy, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they started to join it. I think like now like it's getting better. I think it's like a
Mhm.
3366,
That's
but
awesome.
it's
Yeah.
just something that like I don't want to say like I'm passionate about, but it's something like I do love like encouraging, because I'm not like a like I'm passionate about like more like web designing and creativity as opposed to like other
Mhm.
things. But I definitely think it's something super important.
Mhm. No, and that's really amazing and awesome. Yeah.
So like, do you get a lot of DMs or like questions that are predominantly from female consumers?
Yeah, actually a lot. And because of my background and a lot of CS major like students, they're still like students right now, and they DM me about like how did I, transition from like coding to like just design, and I want to do UX UI design as well. So yeah, I love that my story can like really help them, inspire them to like do something they want, because they also like enjoy coding but also want to do something design related, and they found me and they're like, oh, I can do that too, like she's doing it, and yeah, I'm able to do that.
No,
Yeah.
it's an incredible story. That's why I wanted to have you on the podcast, because your story just from like that 15-second reel, I was inspired because at the time like I I had a pinched nerve, so I wasn't working my part-time as much. I went from like 30 hours, 35 hours to 15.
Hmm.
I had this thing where like if I kept typing for longer than 4 hours, like my arms would hurt. So it was just like a really tough time for me because I was trying to balance full-time school, part-time job, and
Wow.
then also like learning how to code, program, and design at the same time. So it's like 8 hours on the keyboard, but I couldn't anymore. And then I saw
Hmm.
your story, and just knowing that someone that comes from a very similar background of traditional family, these are the only options. You can only do this. If you don't, you disappoint your family. And it's
Hmm.
like, oh my God, like I felt so stuck. And I saw it, and I think it was like I stayed up till like 2 a.m, just like praying and praying and praying. And afterwards, I told my mom the next day, I was like, Mom, like, listen, we need to have a talk in a week. And she's
Hmm.
like, okay. And the talk in a week, I told her my plan. It's not as concrete as it is now, but at the time I just gave her like a rough draft. And being told by your family, especially your mom, because I'm a big mama's boy, being being told
Same.
like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Being told that we're gonna support you no matter what, just like take school, maybe instead of full-time, part-time, but we're gonna help you out no matter
Hmm.
what. Such a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And your story really helps me out in that regard, and it's helped out a lot of people that you don't know, because I sent your story to like multiple other people, and they were touched by it.
Mhm.
So it's just awesome that your story transcends all bounds. And
Mm.
that's why I wanted to have you in the story.
I'm really glad and appreciate like everyone's being so nice and supporting. And I'm so glad that you know, step out and really like share with your parents about like, you know, what your plan is going to
It
be.
was
That's a
terrifying.
big step. That's definitely a
Yeah.
big step. But I'm glad that you did it.
Yeah, it's a very terrifying thing to do.
Hmm.
Like especially since like your parents are like, oh yeah, we left everything that we worked 50 years for, like in back in our country, and we're gonna move to this country with nothing in our pockets. So
Mm.
you can go to university and graduate, make the
Yeah.
big bucks.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you don't want to do school anymore. Like, it's not that I don't want to, it's just that I have to choose between the things that I love. And I
Hmm.
do love school. I love school. I hate hearing like, oh, don't go to school. Like school's terrible. It's a waste of time. It's not. It's great. It's an awesome place.
Yeah.
It really depends on like what your goal is and what your plan is.
Hmm.
But no,
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Hmm.
Like, did you ever
Yeah.
have like that kind of moment with your family where you were telling them and you're like how was
Ye-
that?
Yeah, I feel like I'm always the bad kid, the bad kid in my family because I always don't just go whatever they planned, and they just feel like, why aren't you just go with the path that we prepared for you? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like after I graduated CS major, I did get the job, but I quit. The moment I told my parents I'm gonna quit this job, they're like, why? Like you have such a great position right now, and then why did you want to quit? And I was like, but I just don't enjoy it. They couldn't get it. Like, why don't you enjoy it? Just do it. Like it's for, you know, good career. But I told them that I really just wasn't feeling happy in that environment. And for me, like make of course making money, it's good, but it's not my priority in my
Right.
life. I want to make something, I want to do something, like I want to accomplish something.
Mm,
Like it's just for personal growth. I don't want to just be like, oh, I have money, but what? Like I'm not going to be happy about it. I have so much money on my
right.
hand, but I'm not happy. I want to really do something that makes me happy, and then I can also inspire other people's as well. So yeah, at the time I told my parents I quit my job. They were super shocked. Told my parents I'm gonna move to another country, move away from my home country alone. They were pretty shocked, and that was a really dark time for my family because we just fought a lot and we didn't talk to each other at the time because they were just so mad at me. Like they couldn't understand why am I moving away, and like just for them, I will always be a child, and they
Yeah.
just feel like, oh, you're making a wrong decision. Like, yeah. But now after I moved, got like getting my second degree, they're like feeling a little bit better, and then now like they're supporting. Like, yeah, I'm glad that this is just in the past.
Yeah. No,
Hmm.
that's awesome. It's definitely really hard because like your parents they're always gonna see you as a child.
Yeah.
Always. My
Hmm.
dad on because he had a marriage before the marriage between him and my mom.
Hmm.
And so he has like two kids on that side. So I have two half sisters, they're like 30 years old now. And like for them, like they're proper adults. Like they're
Hmm.
almost double my age. And my dad still treats them like little girls. So it's like we won't ever grow. We're just gonna make the decisions and
Hmm. Yeah, I
basically
feel
take
like I
over.
understand them,
Yeah,
but yeah, just need some time to figure things out. Yeah.
100%.
Hmm.
And even then, like, so whenever you started Leche, which by the way, amazing name. Do you have like how's the origin story of that one?
Oh my God, people love to ask me this question. It's like, why leche? Sometimes they don't even know it's a leche. They thought it's like lychee. It's like
Leech.
they don't know how to pronounce it because they're not sure. Because they, I know some people know that. Okay, this is a Spanish word, but they're not
Leche.
sure that are you Spanish, or people are just, oh, because it's a Leche Studio, you must be Spanish.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like,
Yeah.
she's Spanish, but she looks a little bit like more Asian. I was like, well, maybe she's Filipino because I know Filipino, like in Mexicans, like there's like some nope, Taiwanese. I was like, okay. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Exactly. So the story of my studio name is that because my name is Barbiana, short Barbie, and at the time I was like, everyone's using their name as a studio name, and I love that. Like it's really representing you, but I can't really use my name. Like if I go on like Google and I search Barbie, the first thing it's gonna come up, it's either Nicki Minaj or Barbie dolls. I will never beat those like SEO. So
Oh no,
I'm like,
no.
I can't really use that word. I can't use Barbie or Barbiana. It's not gonna work. So, and it doesn't sound good too. Barbiana Studio. I don't know. It just sounds weird.
Barbie
So,
Studio.
yeah, they're like, do you make custom dolls or something?
Yeah, I'd be
But
so
yeah,
confused.
so confused. So at the time, I'm like, I really can't find a word for my studio. And my partner was like, well, like, how about start with something you love? And what do you like? You like, I really love Cafe Con Leche at the time. So he's like, what
So
about
good.
Cafe Con Leche? Like, you love coffee. I'm like, yeah. And then you love to add milk into anything. I was like, yeah. So maybe let's do Leche Studio. And I went online. I always do my research first. So I go online and then find Leche Studio. Okay, this is like good. Like I can beat the SEO for sure. Like because the top one was like a Leche Studio for a milk. I don't know what was that like milk product, but there's no design studio like on there. It's like Leche Studio at the time. So okay, I'm good.
That's
Yeah. If you
awesome.
put Leche Studio design, it's only gonna be me. Yeah.
She's got it. She's got to be on Google. No, but honestly, you do though, because I tried. I was like, let me let me see what's up with this, because we actually talked about it, and I was like, no way, like there's gotta be a Leche product out there. No, like there's none.
Hmm.
Even like I even tried like on my mom's phone, which is like still, I think she just hasn't taken the SIM card from Colombia out, but I like did like Google on that, and it still came up your studio. I was like, no freaking way.
Did your research first. Like
Yeah,
you'll
I was
know
like,
like this is helping. Yeah.
that's awesome. So how is Leche Studio now?
Leche Studio is doing great. I would say that we're pretty stable now, and but this year, 2022, I wanted to limit like the project we're taking, maybe like one or two project a month, or even 2 months within those 2 months, and we want to kind of move our target audience from small business owner to more like startups or like Web3 brands. That's like my
Oh,
interest. So that will be the new goal for Leche Studio.
that's
Hmm.
awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Going to Web3. Do you have like any NFTs or?
I am building my collection.
Oh, no way. No.
I'm
Of course.
multi-passionate. I told
Yeah,
you.
of course. Oh my goodness. She's multi-talented, guys. She does user research, UI design. On top of that, web development. Oh, she also has a computer science background. No, no big deal.
I remember my friend was like, girl, do you ever sleep? I'm like, no, I
I
don't.
do, but it's like 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes taking naps in between.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, I'm building my collection and it's gonna be like AR NFT. So I was hoping that
Oh,
because the reason for me to build that collection is that the NFT I've seen right now is like they are all just like static image or 3D, like super cool. Yes,
like
super cool. But
JPEG.
yeah, like but when you share it on your profile, oh, it's just that image, the JPEG image. So my goal is that you when you purchase my NFT, you'll get the 3D like image, yes, but also you will get your private link to your like AR filter, and then you will be able to wear that product with your camera.
Oh, that's awesome. Like a
So everyone
license.
has their unique NFT, wearable
Whoa.
NFT. Yeah,
Okay. That's so cool.
yeah.
Yeah, because where do you design your AR filters on I know Adobe has a thing for it. Is that where you design it?
Yeah, I'm actually since I have to cooperate with social medias, so I'm making filters on Effect House for TikTok and then Spark AR for Instagram.
Oh, do they work differently for?
Differently. I really hope that there's a like way in the future for them to, like they can use the same files, but on different like two different
Wow.
softwares. But right now they're totally two different software, two different files. So I cannot just use the same one, which is a little annoying at the moment. So I really
Yeah.
wish like in the future they're going to,
Because
somehow combine it together.
you would think that like you could just use one app for all
Hmm.
social media.
Yeah, but it's not, unfortunately.
If someone's
Uh,
listening, they can make that. Please make it.
yeah, please.
We'll take our 10% royalties each.
Yeah. Hmm.
My goodness. But you said startups. What kind of startups would you be interested in working with? Or
Uh-huh.
just any, like, do you have like an idea for that? Or
At the moment, I've been looking for, I know that there are, because I'm really into content creator world.
mm,
So there are a lot of like content creator trying to build their own like brands, either
mm,
web tools for just content creators or applications. So that kind of like brands I would love to, work with. And for Web3, I was really interested in a company called Spatial. So they have like they kind of make like a virtual like a what was that, like metaverse like space for galleries, and
oh,
it's where
okay.
like everyone can just go on there and then create your own like virtual space. So that's like another company I would like want to work with. Yeah.
Like in the metaverse, like property.
They work with Metaverse to create like virtual space for people. So if you are NFT artist, or you don't have to be an NFT artist, you just are artist, or even for a community, you want to create a Metaverse like just like a conference or just like a gallery, you will be able to go on there and then just create your own.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really, really cool.
People are so cool. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's honestly just so interesting. Like the way the technology has come up to not only help STEM and stuff like that, but also like to help designers and creators. Such a big
Hmm.
thing. And on top of that the creative field as a general, they're the ones
Hmm.
that are leading the forefront for all these technologies to be implemented in the first place.
Hmm.
Such an incredible thing. Such an
Yeah.
incredible thing.
It is. That's how I feel like being a freelancer, we're able to, connect with more people and
Yeah.
then really learn like a lot of like either stories or, their goals, visions from them. But I don't know, like if I'm still at the like, 9 to 5 jobs, I don't know if I'm able to, meet these people.
I definitely think it'd be harder just
Yeah,
because
harder. Probably not impossible, but definitely harder because you will stay in that circle
and
more.
also like you're like it's not even like, oh, it's Barbiana Liu that's one-on-one with this person. It's more like Twitter is going to talk to this person. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
it's different.
it's different. It's definitely different. I like to be more like personal, chatting with
Same.
like you, like yeah, chatting with others. Hmm.
That's why I wanted to make this podcast, because I'm like, there's so many interesting people and so many talented people out here. They have such a great stories and they're so cool. Like I just want to talk to all of them because I love talking to people.
Same. I love like really learn story from people. Like it's just so amazing.
Yeah, it's such a good time. Do you like listen to podcasts or watch podcasts or
Yeah, I do. I do have like a few design like podcasts on Spotify that I like. Hmm.
okay? Which
Yeah.
ones?
Let me bring it up. So, wait.
Because I only have like two design podcasts,
Hmm.
and then the rest are like entertainment.
Yeah, entertainment is nice. Like when I'm just like, doing something like other works and I just want some noise, like or sounds behind, like I like to just
Yeah,
play it. Yeah. Because like really like for design podcasts, I would have to like focus what they're talking about. I can't just
right.
like do something and listen to the podcast at the same time. I just can't. I know for others like they can, but for me I can't. I want to focus on what they're talking.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard.
Yeah. So there's like one called graphic design grind.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other there's another one, but she's not really updating the podcast anymore. But I love the podcast cover she made because she's a graphic designer, and then she just made like
Oh,
really beautiful covers every single episode, and that's like how like I was like, ooh, interesting, because I'm a brand designer, so I really look at the stuff first, like the design first before even
right.
listening. So that covers, I'm like, I love it, and yeah, that's how I followed her. But yeah.
No, I'm the same way. I consume with my eyes. I'm like, all right, let me see how this looks. Because there's like some podcasts that are high quality content, but their
Hmm.
cover art, it looks like it was made on MS Paint or something.
Hmm. Yeah.
So bad. But
Yeah.
the future is really good. I love the future. And then also for like developers, the Developer Tea is a really good podcast.
So.
But I also listen to this also pretty good podcast. It's called Path Studio. Just
Just
yeah, great podcast.
awesome podcast.
Yeah, no, like would you ever go in that direction of creating a podcast? Because I feel like everybody has a podcast nowadays. There's a podcast for everything.
Yeah, like I've been asked these questions a lot before, but I don't think I would. Just because like I love to chat with people, but I'm a good listener. I like to just also like sit and just listen to people like talking, but I don't think that I'm able to be a host.
No, it's definitely scary.
So yeah, I just don't think that I would. I can be someone that join a podcast, you know, like maybe once in a while, but yeah, I don't think I can be a host at the moment.
No, I don't know. Like I ever since I was young, I've been able to talk and stuff like that. After this pandemic and spending like more time on my own, I've become a better listener than what I used to be. But hosting, like the first episode compared to this one, it's like night and day. The first episode, I was like, so we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. Oh, that's funny. It's definitely hard. Even then, like I had like a podcast like 65 episodes before I did this one. So I'm like, why is it any different? But so for because I don't want to like take more of your time because it is like at like 2:30, getting time that lunchtime.
Ooh. Wow, it's been like oh no, it's not 2 hours. What am I talking about? Almost 2 hours though.
Almost
like
2 hours, right?
Yeah.
These episodes get pretty long. Like the first episode thing was like almost 3 hours. It was like 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, whenever you talk to people, it's just honestly like some things can just like come up out of nowhere. And you're like, oh my God, let's talk about this. And it has something to do with the podcast. And I love stuff like that. Like there's this podcast called Trash Taste. And I love watching anime. And I went to that podcast because it's supposedly an anime podcast. Is not like they talk about their lives in Japan. They talk about their lives as content creators. And it's just like, no, this is so much cooler. And I'd like to have something similar to that where like, yeah, like we do talk about like your life and we do talk about like your design background and stuff like that. But also just like talking about like random stuff. I feel like would be really cool at some point. I like the direction that we're going with in this episode. So I'm like, all right, chilling. But
yeah, I do love that just kind of like go with the flow.
yeah.
And yeah, like we can talk about anything.
Instead of like forcing stuff like, okay, yeah, great. This has nothing to do with what you just said, but can you tell me about your experience with XYZ? Okay, sweet, awesome. Now let's go into this complete other.
This feels like interview.
Yeah, like I don't like I love having an interview for like jobs and clients, but even then, I'm unapologetically myself. I just like in an interview, I will be wearing this. I don't care. There's like this is me. I feel super comfortable in this. This is where I work. This is what I am the most productive in, even in a hat. And today, conducting an interview, we spoke to like a UX researcher, and she made a really funny comment. She was like, "I really like your hat, like very professional." I was like, "I don't know if that's a backhanded compliment, but I'm just gonna take it as
a compliment."
As a compliment, okay? I'm just like the most comfortable in this. This is where I do like all my best thing. So like for you, do you have like a suit of armor type of thing that like makes you feel like I'm the most productive in this?
I mean, like I do most of my work at home, so I just dress really comfortable, honestly.
Heck yeah.
Like when you look at my TikTok videos or reels on Instagram, you will see like me in sweatshirts a lot because that's what I like literally dress every day. Yeah, I mean, like I want to be comfortable at home, like yeah, but during weekends I can dress up. Yeah.
Yeah, I could. I remember I was in a digital marketing internship, and we were required whenever we were on Zoom to like dress up, like as if we were in a corporate. And I was like, okay, fine, I guess. I don't want to get in trouble, whatever, not. And then at some point, I was like, no, like I'm just gonna come up like as me, and I started doing that. and the CEO didn't like it, but like the project managers, they loved it. They were like, "Oh my god, like you're just being yourself. Like that's awesome. We love the
Yeah.
originality." And then ever
Hmm.
since then, I was like, "I'm gonna be my own CEO and dress however the frick I want to dress."
Exactly.
Like my business partner, we had a client like come to us, and we had the interview with them, and he dressed like proper.
Hmm.
I dressed as of like I just woke up, put on my glasses, brush my teeth, wash my face, and like we're here. And it was such a huge disparity. And the client like commented on there, like, so like I came like, like in a suit and everything like that. Like, is this like required if we were to like work for it? I was like, no, like you can come literally like in plaid pants, like plaid sweatpants and like a Christmas
I love
sweater,
that.
and we will work professionally on any moment. Like I want you to be most comfortable, and
Yeah.
that's like super important for me, like for having
Hmm.
the client to be comfortable, having the people on your team to be comfortable. How is that for
Hmm.
you at Leche Studio? Because I know you actually have two two employees.
Hmm. Um, yeah, I have interns like with
Interns.
my in my studio, just that they are both like design major and I just want to have like experience and I love like sharing my experience with them. So I have like interns and I never told them that you need to, dress up or something. Like we're always like really chill.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Hmm. And I'm always the one that because I like to put the meeting in the morning just because I want to just like deal with it and that's it. Like afternoon, I can focus on design.
Rip off the
So
band-aid.
yeah, but I'm a night owl, so I sleep pretty late and I woke up
Oh,
pretty late.
really?
Yes, I would sleep at like around 2 or 3 and then wake up around like 10, 11, or sometimes 12 the next day. I can't wake up really early. I can't. I just can't. Yeah, so if I have a early meeting, oh my God, I will look like I just woke up. But yeah, that's just me.
Oh my goodness. No, I'm like I love waking up early. So like I
Hmm.
wake up at like 6 or 7 and be ready by 7 or 8, and then
Oh
sleeping at like
wow, that's
11.
really early.
It's just like, and the thing is like my teammate, he's someone that goes to sleep at 3 a.m., wakes up at
Mhm,
11.
mhm.
And so like for him and I, like having like these meetings, it's like we have to have it in the middle of the day, like an hour after he wakes up and like 6 hours after I wake up. And I'm the
Mhm,
kind of person that's like, I just want to get it done. Like just let's just have the meeting, get it over with. I don't want to have to
mhm.
think about it anymore. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, that's why like at Leche Studio, your meeting the earliest would be 10. It's never gonna be like earlier than 10. It's gonna be 10 because that's like when I wake up. I can't do earlier than that.
So like what are like the business hours then for Leche Studio? Because it is like it's a
Yeah,
primarily online studio, right? No brick and mortar.
yeah, just online. I
Yeah.
put like 9 to 5, just like a
Mm.
standard hours. Yeah, but strictly if someone email me after that business hour, I will respond you the next day. I want to set that boundaries because before I don't, I just kind of like also email them maybe like really late night and I realized that they just thought that, oh, I'll be available anytime and
Right.
they would just like DMs you or send you text message or just send you emails like just all over the place and it really was messy. Like my life would be messy. So
Yeah.
strictly 9 to 5, like that's the time I'm gonna respond your emails. And after that, no, I'm gonna email you the next day.
How do you how do you mitigate that kind of confrontation almost with your client? Because like I mean, being in the online studio, me
Hmm.
just saying like, oh, like you're available all the time. Like you're just
Hmm.
in online studio. Like we got you 24/7. And they want to have you like communicating with you like all the time. How do you go about that?
Yeah, so I will share like a welcome pack to them, and that includes my business hour.
Oh,
I'll let
okay.
them know that this is strictly my business hour, unless that you have something really urgent. Then this is like a link that you can schedule like a call with me. Yeah.
Okay. What if
Hmm.
they like they're like, I don't like those hours. Can we have more hours?
I haven't really encountered anything like
You're
that.
so lucky. Oh my God.
I haven't really encountered anyone that really crossed that line and be like, I don't like the business hour. I don't know. Like, I guess my clients they are also value the work and life balance. I guess.
We've had it like with so like in photography, we've had it multiple times, but like in design, we what we saw, I'm just saying correlation, no causation here, just correlation. With women, perfectly fine, boundaries are set, cool. Maybe like one or two didn't like it, but like they were cool about it. Males, they're like, we want you all the time. We're like, no, like listen here, like, you know,
Wow.
yeah, like I don't know what it is. Like I'm a guy. Like if someone, if a guy or like a business person says like, hey, I'm only available 9 to 5, I'm like, okay, I can only call you between 9 to 5, not 9 to 9. So it's just like I don't understand.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought that I don't want to be a racist, but I thought that the men would be more chill with this kind of thing. Like they're just chill, like they're okay. But wow,
Like
interesting.
normally we've had only two clients that have said something. One of them has said like has been a little bit extreme about it, but um one of them was like they were cool, then they didn't like it, and then they were cool. One person was just not cool at all. They were like very up
Oh,
against it. I was like, "What? Like, when do you want us to sleep then, dude? Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, that
respectfully,
is really
we don't have
weird.
to work together then." And they're like, "No, no, like we want to work." And I was like, "Okay, then like, these are the boundaries." And they're like, "Okay, I guess." I'm like, "All right."
Yeah, I mean, like, and presenting them like this is our business hour at first will always help. And I always also like kind of want to tell them that where I am, like, oh, where are you based? And they're like, oh, they're based in like Los Angeles. I'm like, oh, I'm in New York City. So they know that I'm on the East Coast. And maybe after those hours, like I'm gonna be asleep or something. I don't know. Like I feel like that also helps when I have the initial call with them. Yeah, just kind of let
Yeah,
them know where I am, like I'm based, and this is my business hour. But yeah, luckily I haven't encountered any problems so far.
so lucky. Good for you, Barbiana.
Yay.
Good for you. When it for like for like negotiating and stuff like that, like let's say I'm a client. Hey Barbiana, I'd like to work with you guys to make a website with a web design. Um, this is my budget, XYZ. Let's say like, do you work with their budget or do you say like, oh, like we only work at this range of a budget? How do you
It really depends on how much I really love this project. If it's like
mm,
a very interesting project and they only have this budget, I will let them know that, well, within your budget, this is what I can do. So
mm,
kind of adjust the package, like not presenting the full package. Maybe let them know that, well, like normally this is our package and this is like the starting price. But since that you have this product, like this budget, then we can take out like a certain things. And then we focus on the major like goals that you want to achieve first. And then maybe
mm.
later on you want to, add on something, then we can. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, because
Mhm.
like because what we've done is something very similar where like, oh, we want you to like build this and do that and create this function and stuff like that. But this is our budget. And we're like, we really want to work with you. But
Mhm.
instead of making those custom built features, what we can do is just use integrations instead
Mhm.
that are already built and we can just embed them. Um, like that's worked out just fine, I think. It's done
Mhm.
good. Website still looks great in my opinion. But that's awesome though. What
Mhm.
like what's your dream client?
Ooh, dream client. So I would say that they're just really chill to work with. And they also kind of like, I love the process of sharing my ideas with my clients. Then they are also be able to, like on top of that, be like, oh, what about this one? And then we both like come up with like really amazing thing together. That's like what I love about, like my dream clients when I was like working with them. Yeah.
Collaboration and
Yeah.
just
Collaboration. And then just like, it's very smooth, the process. Yeah.
that's
That's,
awesome.
mhm.
Do you have like an exact process you follow by then?
Yes. So for my design process, so at first I did not establish any process at all.
Mm,
So it's like really all over the place. And eventually it just kind of like burn out for me. Like it's just too
yeah.
much. Yeah. And especially you have multiple projects and then it's just everywhere. And after a year, I kind of just like know what my process looks like. I even took like a little online course before just to want to know like how the process looks like for other designers, but realized that everyone's process is different, and that person's process not working for me. So I'm just kind of like, or like kind of just look at like the past experience I have and then see what I can really automate those process. Some of those I can just automate it and then create templates for my business. So let's say that they are design concept, like I always have to present to my branding clients, then I'm going to create a templates of that. And I'm using Asana for project management. So I'll create like the project board templates first. So when I know that I'm onboarding my clients, like it's easier for me to just duplicate a workspace and then we're ready to go. And then have like email templates as well. Like, yeah,
Oh
having
wow, that's
templates so
awesome.
helpful for me in
Super
the
helpful.
process. Mm-hmm.
So like you
Yeah.
have that as well, like for because there are sometimes where a client likes like the layout of one of our past projects, and
Mm-hmm.
we're like, we can like sometimes it gets difficult because that project we made was a custom built project, and we don't want to template it because then that's kind of like cheapening the value of that project.
Mm-hmm.
But do you do like HTML templates or like website templates? Because we do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if anybody else does it.
Well, like I think having a template is pretty good, especially for those clients that have budget. So you can
Mm,
be like, oh, we can just give you this, like we can use this templates and then customize it on top of that. So it's not fully customizable, like,
right.
in our opinion. Yeah. So I do have like one template. It's on Show It. It's mostly like targeting small business, like service-based business owner who want to just have like easy like website to use. And I do have like clients, they don't have the big budget to create like fully customizable website. And I just let them know that, well, like I have this templates and then we can customize on top of that. And if they like it, they can do it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's so cool. It's just so cool, like getting to know like the process and the systems of other
Mm-hmm.
creatives. Hmm.
But I definitely think that maybe I should create more templates. Like, I don't know. At the moment, a lot of my clients, they just like different, just different types of businesses. So I cannot really have like a set templates at the moment. Yeah. But
Yeah,
maybe in the
there's
future, for sure, like if I can create a templates for service-based business owners, that would be great. Yeah.
yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
we mainly template out like the paperwork kind of thing or like the presentables
Mm.
as opposed to the actual website because every website is
Oh,
different. Every
okay.
website has
Yeah.
like different needs. There's just been
Mm-hmm.
like some customers that we've had like in the past are like, yo, we really like this layout. Can we just have this layout? We're like, yeah, by all means, like it's gonna be a lot cheaper. So they're like, oh, it's cool, it's fine, it's whatever. And we're like, all right, sick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's sick. You do have like a template thing that you
Yeah.
sell on Gumroad, right?
Oh yeah, so I started to share like my templates on like just like I set up a store on Gumroad and sharing my templates that I personally use in my studio. So I have like brand concept deck and website planning deck. Yeah, those
So
two
cool.
are the one that I always use for my clients. Mhm.
Link in the description, people. Um, so like for because you have like templates and stuff. Um, for like hardware, what is like your go-to hardware? Like what's like what are like the things like you're obsessed about when it comes to your design studio? Like the like for me, it's like the desk and like the curvy board and like my Mac. Like I love those things. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, I can just design all day if I have these things.
You're fancy.
Like
You're
I'm
fancy.
just super high maintenance because like
Hmm.
I had like a shorter IKEA desk that was like 25 by 24 by 40. This desk is like a 30 by 60 and it stands because I hate sitting. I don't like sitting.
Hmm.
I just prefer to stand.
Hmm.
Um and so like I got the standing desk. And
Yeah.
like for the curvy board, pinch nerve, I had to go ergonomic at some point.
Hmm.
So
Well, like ever since I moved to New York City, I have to downsize a lot and not like really a huge space at the moment. So,
yeah.
I don't have a standing desk, and I'm just pretty much just have my laptop and my magic pad, and that's
Oh,
it.
okay.
That's all. That's all for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have like other fancy equipment.
No, I mean it's New York. Like you don't have as much space and everything.
Yeah, mostly because I don't have space. I really want to have a second monitor like I had like in Tampa, but I don't have a space to set that up. So yeah.
It's tough. I have a friend that lives in New York, and they live they live near like this content house. Um, I don't know if you heard of them, like Kelly
Okay.
Wakasa, Elia Choi.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Your Mom's House. That's what it's called
In New York City?
in New York City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
yeah, like it's just like four like big lifestyle YouTubers that they just hang out with each other and just make content about it. But he lives across from them, but he lives in a super tiny apartment, like
Mm-hmm.
super tiny, and like he lives in like this room, and this like he's like I pay like $1,800 for this room, like. I'm
Welcome to
like
New York.
I'm like I mean I don't pay because I live with my mom still, but like my mom, she whenever because she did real estate at some point, whenever she was selling like houses and stuff like that near here, it's like $1,500, $2,000 at the most, and you get like a lot of property.
Yeah, in Florida. I miss Florida.
Yeah, in New York, I'm assuming you definitely have to you have to adopt an essentialist mindset.
Yeah, like when I first moved here, I'm like, I was like dreaming to have like beautiful couch, beautiful like setup. And I'm like, when I'm like purchasing the furniture, I'm like, wait, this is too big for my space. Like I can't even fit this one. Like, yeah, it's sad, but
Oh
Mhm.
my goodness. And you have a cat as well?
Yes, I
How
have a
does
cat as
how do you
well.
have a pet in a much tinier living space than what you're accustomed to? That's a third life.
Yeah, it is. Like, well, right now I'm still at the 1-1. I also have 1-1 back in Florida, yes, but it's like much bigger. Like you have like bigger living room. But here it's like my living room also have the kitchen. So
Oh,
it's a
okay.
really classic like New York apartment. And then I also have the room, but it's like much more smaller. And also add on with my cats, like I can tell he's like, what's wrong with the space? I used to, walk around the house and now I'm like basically in a living room. Yeah. Maybe that's why he's always on the window because he wanna just look outside.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
poor Kale.
Poor Kale.
No, man's
Yeah.
man is living his best life. He has like the little beanie, the little yellow beanie thing.
Oh yeah.
Super
It's so
cute.
cute. He's my baby.
Such a
He's
cute
looking
cat.
at this at the same time right now.
Oh, okay. He's like, can I join the podcast?
He's like, what are you guys talking about? I heard my
I have
name.
things to share, but no, my goodness. Do you have like anything like you want to plug or anything like you want to call to action, I guess, for anybody listening?
Call to action. Oh, I love that. Call to action. Um, I don't know. Like, I really love to chat with you. And there's just so much more that we can share. Maybe we can do a second episode. Who
Oh
knows?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Anybody
Yeah.
that's been on this podcast, it's not just like a one-time thing. Like if they want to if we want to join, oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I always love to, join another different conversations. But yeah, I just want to let people know that like you don't like your background doesn't really define you.
Mhm.
And you can really pursue what you want in your life. You know, just do it. This is the first step. Like everyone is scared of the first step. A lot of
Right.
people, like I talk to, they're like, oh, I'm so scared of quitting my job. Like I love doing freelance, but I'm just so scared. Like it's not going to be stable. But you just have to do it. Like I've seen people, they did it. They quit their like the job and they're doing amazing now. So I know that the first step is scary. It is
Yeah.
scary, but don't worry about that because there are like community like our community that can support you and you can always reach out for help as well. So just want people to know that like you can always have like, people are friendly in a community. Yeah.
Yeah. That's such a great message. It's really true. The first step is definitely the scariest step,
Hmm.
especially like having to establish yourself as whatever kind of company or business.
Hmm.
Just like the whole waiting process is exhausting and terrifying, and then
Yeah.
doing the whole like bank business thing. Oh, my gosh, it's just doing all that stuff sucks. But
Hmm.
link in the description for a template on how to do that if you're in the state of Florida, by the way. Yeah, because me and my teammate, we were like, there's no way like this process is that confusing. Because like the process was very like spread out, and we just had to line it up, and lining it up is like super easy to do. So we just have like a little template in the description just in case you guys want to start a business. But
Mhm.
no, that's an awesome message. Definitely the first step is the scariest.
Mhm.
And you don't need motivation to take the first step. You just need to take the first step, and then the motivation will follow.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Mhm.
Such an important thing.
Oh,
But thank you so much, Barbiana. Thank you so
thank
much, Leche
you.
Studio. This was a
Thank you.
pleasure, a true honor to have you. So
Thank you so
seriously,
much.
no, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know when we're gonna post this. Hopefully post it sometime, but you have a great
Hey.
rest of your day. Okay, Barbiana?
Yeah, same to you. I really enjoyed this a lot.
Same. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. See you in 1-800.
Yay.
All right, bye bye
All
now.
right. Bye.